In the spring of 46 BC, in a coastal town in North Africa, a man sat alone in a room and asked for a book. The town was Utica. The man was Cato. And outside the walls of that room, the Roman Republic he had spent his entire life defending was, for all practical purposes, already gone. Julius Caesar had won. The armies that stood against him were broken. Caesar himself was only days away. Cato knew exactly what was coming. Caesar would arrive, and Caesar would offer him something: mercy, a pardon, the chance to simply go on living. And the mercy, the pardon, was the one thing Cato had decided he would not accept. So he asked for a book, Plato's Phaedo, the dialogue about the last hours of Socrates, and the question of whether the soul outlasts the body. He read it through once, then, the accounts tell us, he read it again. This is the story of a man who believed that there was one thing, exactly one, that no army, no defeat, and no emperor could ever take from him, and of how he spent his whole life proving it was real. To understand that room in Utica, you have to understand the man sitting in it. Marcus Porcius Cato was born in 95 BC into one of Rome's old families. His great-grandfather had been a famous senator, but Cato didn't trade on the name. From the time he was young, he was known for something stranger and rarer. He could not be bought. Not bribed, Romans expected that of almost no one, in an age when politics ran on money and favors. But Cato genuinely could not be bought, and he could not be flattered, and he could not be pressured. He paid every debt to the last coin. He wore plain clothes when plain clothes were almost an insult to his rank. He walked when other senators rode. He had studied Stoic philosophy seriously, not as a hobby, but as a way of deciding how to live. And the Stoics had taught him a specific idea, that a human being's character, their choices, their judgment, those things belong to them completely. Everything else is on loan. Most people found Cato exhausting, difficult, stubborn, past all reason. But here is the thing they also admitted. When Cato told you something was true, you believed it, because there was nothing anyone could offer him to make him say otherwise. And then there was Caesar. Julius Caesar was, by almost any measure, the most gifted man of his generation, brilliant, charming, fearless, and enormously ambitious. He was everything Rome admired, and he was willing to break the Republic's rules to get what he wanted. Cato saw it before almost anyone else did. Where others saw a rising star, Cato saw a man who would, if not stopped, end the Republic itself, replace its shared, messy, balanced power with the will of one person. And so Cato opposed him at every step, in the Senate, in the courts, in the street. It's important to be honest here. Cato was not always right, and he was not easy to work with. His stubbornness sometimes made things worse. Some historians argue that his refusal to ever compromise helped push Rome toward the very civil war he feared. But his motive was never in question. He wasn't opposing Caesar for money, or for a position, or for revenge. He was opposing him for an idea. The war came anyway. Caesar crossed the Rubicon. Pompey, the general who led the side Cato supported, was defeated and killed, and the cause Cato had given his life to was, piece by piece, lost, until what remained of it was gathered in a town called Utica. By the time Cato reached Utica, he understood the war was over. And what he did first tells you almost everything about him. He did not think about himself. He organized the others, the soldiers, the senators, the civilians who had followed the losing side. He arranged ships. He made sure that anyone who wanted to escape could escape, and anyone who wanted to surrender to Caesar could do so safely. He took care of everyone's options but his own, because for himself, Cato had already done the philosophy. Caesar was famous for something the Romans called clementia, clemency. He liked to pardon his defeated enemies. It was genuinely less cruel than the alternative, but it was also a kind of power. To pardon a man is to stand above him. To accept the pardon is to agree that the other person had the right to grant it. And that was the line Cato would not cross. To be pardoned by Caesar would mean accepting that Caesar now had the authority to decide whether Cato lived. It would make Cato, in a sense, one more thing that belonged to Caesar. That night, after the others were safe, Cato read his book, and then he made his choice, quietly, on his own terms, refusing to let the outcome of his life be handed to him by another man. Now, step back from the history for a moment, because underneath this story is an idea, and the idea is the reason we still tell it. The Stoics divided the entire world into two categories. There are the things that are up to us, our judgments, our choices, our own actions, the kind of person we decide to be. And there's everything else, our reputation, our health, our wealth, what other people do, how events turn out. All of that, the Stoics said, is not fully ours. It can be given and it can be taken. By the end, almost everything in the second category had been taken from Cato. The war, lost. The republic, gone. His allies, dead or scattered. His future, closed. Everything external had been stripped away. But the Stoics claimed there was a category that no army could reach. Your judgment, your choices, your verdict on how to meet what comes. And Cato's entire life, the plain clothes, the unpayable bribes, the debts settled to the coin, had been one long argument that this category is real, that it actually exists. Caesar could take Rome. That was always within his power. What Caesar could not do, what no one could do, was take Cato's own answer to the question of how to live and how to leave. There was always something that remained his. Let's be careful and clear here, because this is the part that actually matters for your life. Cato's situation was extreme. It was historical and political and final, in a way almost nothing in an ordinary life ever is. The lesson here is not about his choice. It is not about anything dramatic at all. The lesson is the principle underneath it, and the principle scales all the way down to a normal Tuesday. Think about the last time you felt you had no choice. A job you can't simply walk away from. A diagnosis you didn't ask for. A situation someone else created that you now have to live inside. That feeling, I have no options, nothing here is mine, is one of the heaviest feelings a person can carry. And the Stoic claim is that the feeling, almost always, is not literally true. You may not control the situation, but something always remains, your response to it, the effort you put in, where you place your attention, the next small action, the way you carry the thing you didn't choose. The work, the actual daily unglamorous work, is to find that remaining thing and put your energy there, instead of spending it all raging at the part that was never yours to begin with. That is the ordinary version of what Cato did, and it's available to you on any day of your life. Here's how the story ends, on the surface. Cato lost, Caesar won. Caesar became dictator of Rome, and the republic Cato had defended did not come back. By every measure the world usually uses, Caesar got everything and Cato got nothing. And yet, 2,000 years later, the word Cato still means something. It became a kind of shorthand for integrity that cannot be bought, for a person who could not be owned. Caesar got Rome. Cato got the one thing Caesar wanted and chased and never managed to take from him, the last word on his own life. The Stoics never promised you would win. That was never the deal. They promised something smaller and stranger and more durable, that whether you win or lose, there is a part of every outcome that is still being decided by you, and that part is worth defending like it's the only thing you own, because in the end it might be. If this resonated, the fullest account of Cato's life is in Plutarch's Lives. The link is in the description, along with where to start with the Stoics themselves. New stories every Sunday and Wednesday. I'll see you in the next one.